And I don't know about the moisture issue. I remember vaguely it's being mentioned earlier.
I like
but
what,
I
for
don't-
seniors? I don't know.
Exactly.
So I like to go through with you.
Hey, everybody.
Now let's see what there is.
Hi. Yay. All right. I see me on the screen. It showed the screen for like a hot second. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Happy New Year. Hope everybody is feeling good and had a good holiday and got through it or enjoyed it, whatever needed to happen. And yeah, excited to get back into the saddle here with y'all. And yeah, so I guess is there a visitor? I thought I saw somebody that is not normally there or not on the committee.
He's hiding over there in the corner.
Hi, person hiding.
This is Corey.
Maybe I'll move over here.
Corey?
So sitting behind me is Corey. He's our visitor today.
Okay. Hi, Corey. Thanks for, you didn't have to move. I just was like, I think that's somebody, I don't know who that is. So yes, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Is there a purpose or you just wanted to join us and here, listen in, or just so I know like how to address any questions or thoughts, needs you have?
Hopefully no question, just listening today.
Great.
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Nice. Okay. Well, let's get this party started. Can I share the agenda?
If I'd known it was a party, I would have brought some champagne.
Well, here.
Don't you say
Well, you have champagne in your hearts. I don't know how to share my screen, so let's see. But whiteboards, notes. Am I able to share my screen?
Oh,
Carrie?
you're on here too. I was just checking the link.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't see it, but it's fine. I'll just walk through the agenda by voice. Y'all know it anyway. So, okay.
Okay, let's all get on.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
We have hard copies of the agenda.
okay, yeah, I figured you all have it. I have it in front of me and hopefully, yeah, everybody online has it too. So, okay, well, we're calling to order. We're in order now. Establishing a quorum of 5 members. I believe we have more than 5 members in attendance, so that is good. So the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting, Carrie sent those out. I know Toby had some edits and, maybe she had other edits from other people. So did anybody have any questions or concerns about the minutes they want to discuss in the meeting?
No.
Okay, great. So does somebody want to make a motion to approve?
I motion you approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay. All in favor of approving the minutes? I'll have to ask for a roll call, I know, so go ahead. Maybe people on the phone first.
Harriet, aye.
Thank you. Oh, and yeah, Holly Field.
Aye.
Okay. And Myra Sinnott, aye. And then, I think, okay, so Josh Leach,
Yes, aye.
okay, and Cressica Brazier.
Yeah, there's not at that.
Huh? Well, I can't see who's in order. I'm just saying people's names. I can see Carrie's head. That's all I can see. So I can't see you. I see Josh. That's why I said his name, but I don't know who's in order. So I'm just going to say your names and it may not be in the order you're sitting because I can't see. So Cressica Brazier.
Okay, aye.
Okay. Monica Mullins.
Aye.
Okay. Dick DeGrasse.
Yep.
Okay. Toby Martin.
Yes.
Okay. And Bill Thomas.
Aye.
Great. Thank you all. Thanks for, getting through my limited visibility of you all. Now it's starting to look at Monica and Josh. It's like slowly panning away from Carrie. I don't know why it's focused on her, but y'all need to make more sound over there. Okay. So, let's go through the updates for ongoing projects. Bill, I know you've been away and I hope you had a good vacation. But do you have any updates? You don't have to, but do you have any updates for some of the energy efficiency projects?
I'm collecting data to update the records of fuel use and electrical consumption in the buildings. I have requests out for those data. I've received some today. Some of them have been put into files, but I'm a long way from done. Okay, so that's where I stand with regard to the upgrades. There is nothing that I think there's nothing else to report on with regard to energy upgrades.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so Josh and Kreska, I know there was some email traffic today. Do you want to give an update on like the fire, public safety building, work or research that's happening?
Well, I was just gonna ask a question in regards to which thermostat we're gonna go with, and then after reading the email back and forth, because there was one of the things that's been on my mind to want to get changed out as soon as we can. Because when we do our monthly inspections in the fire truck, I always go back through and make sure, because it's so close to that thermostat, to go back through and make sure it's turned back down again. It's just real easy to turn it up to 80 degrees and not know you did it.
Oof.
That's why I'd like to try to get one over on the insulated wall as soon as we can, and then just run the wire up overhead and poke it down through and maybe move, if we so chose to want to leave that mercury thermostat in there, move it to the wall closer to the door right there. Just that way it's not interfering, or just do away with it altogether. And
I have a suggestion, okay? Kreska was mentioning keeping the two thermostats. People like to play with the thermostat. So let's leave the one that everyone knows about right where it is. Let's run it up in parallel. We'll put a double throw switch someplace where only a few people know about. We'll flip it to the new thermostat, and people can play with the old thermostat all they want, and it will do nothing whatsoever. But if ever the new thermostat fails, we just flip the double throw switch, and then it becomes operational until we can replace the new one.
sure.
Now, the only thing we need to make this work is some thermostat wire. Okay, and I'll check at home. I don't think I have any quantity to do this, because I'd forgotten we were gonna put that thermostat in a new place.
Mhm.
So we're gonna have to fish that wire. We're gonna need 100 feet of it or something like that.
Yeah, I would just surface mount it and just use small staples, and then you can poke up through the hole. I was looking at it last night. We can go in through the same hole where the sprinkler head pops out through and just share the same void space, and then.
Okay, I'm not a big fan of surface mounted wires. It's kind of not so attractive, but it's fast and we can do that. Yeah, sure.
So just to do a plywood siding on the inside of the fire station, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Let's measure the length. Let's get the wire. Shall we order the thermostat? Okay, and
And we should discuss the thermostat a little bit more to
Yeah.
make sure you're comfortable with it first.
I mean, it's real simple to put one in, so I mean, whatever. I was even gonna volunteer. I wasn't sure the correct passageway to make this happen. I didn't know if we had a favorite one we wanted to go with, just go to Home Depot, walk out with one, throw a receipt at someone and say, here. I wasn't sure the correct avenue to make that happen.
I have 6 Ecobee at home and they have worked fine. I think other people I know have put in the Nest
Mhm.
and I have never used it, but apparently it's easy to program. So, I mean, the only preference I would have would be the Ecobee because I know it, but that's it.
Yes, like some of them, you just need to have a 24-volt transformer or whatever it is for it, and a lot of those you can just plug into an outlet and wire it into the thermostat.
Well, I think the existing thermostat's the same wattage, the same voltage.
These don't even have a voltage too, I mean, it's just whatever's on the primary control, there's no.
Right, that's typically, I mean, we can check the voltage, but that's typically a low voltage control. It's not a high voltage.
Right, I know with ours at home, we upgraded to something else so we can go on our phone and change it, we had to buy a 24-volt transformer, it just plugs into the
Yeah.
outlet and that goes into the thermostat
All
itself.
right,
Okay, we'll check it out and see what wires it has.
pick the
already.
thermostat
Yeah.
first and then we'll,
Yeah.
but we still ought to get the wire soon because we
Oh,
can
yeah.
fish the wire and get it all ready to go.
We'll do it.
Okay, great. That was a great conversation and I like the planning. So good job, everybody. Thanks. Okay, cool. Anything else on the fire public safety buildings or we're good for now?
We'll,
Jessica, what,
we'll try to get in touch with Justin. If not, we'll do our own research and try to figure something out.
I have
About
not
the
written to
louvers?
Justin yet.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't is because I had a question, a personal question out. I wanted to get one of them resolved before I hit him with a second one. But I'll write in the next day or two, as soon as I get a message back from them regarding my personal question.
And what would that be
Oh,
regarding?
for the louvers,
For the-
louvers, yeah.
I figured it out. I put the agenda on the screen for those people who are online. You all have the hard copies, but I was like, where did I go? Yeah,
Was that
anyway.
Lake Extra ever put back together?
That's, oh, yeah, we tried to investigate that and,
It just hasn't happened, that's all. I
Yeah.
mean, we've walked under it multiple times, looking up at it, saying we have to do this,
Yeah.
but we just haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
And the real hard part will be that it seems to be associated, connected to a light sensor. So
oh,
we,
that one, but the light fixture that Monica mentioned last meeting
It's out in the fire station.
in the fire station, we haven't addressed that yet.
at all,
No, we don't.
not even on my radar, right?
Yeah,
Do we have a ladder that will allow us access to the ceiling? Or can we get up on one of the trucks or something?
Oh, I think we've got a ladder tall. I think there's
okay.
a tall, ladder out there. Not an extension ladder, but just.
So we just climb up the ladder and refit the panel, right? Is
I
that-
think so.
Yeah, okay.
If we have to, we'll take a 24-foot ladder off the fire truck.
Gee, I've never gone up one of those.
Okay,
It's fun when you get to work on the firehouse. Too bad y'all didn't have a pole.
I don't do
Side deck.
heights.
That's why I'm looking at you.
Probably happy you don't have a pole.
I'm not a height guy. No.
oh, no. I'll do it.
I do it routinely.
Okay. Anything else on this one? Sorry. Okay, great. Thanks, everybody. Good work. Okay, Cressica, and I think we also have Kizzy here. She is moonlighting as the Islesboro Energy Hub person. So I know, Cressica, you had a handout, and actually I can put it up on the screen too. So we can all see it. But anyway, do you want to go ahead and give any updates you have for that?
Sure.
This one?
Yeah. So since our last meeting, we've made progress on both of the prize goals. Number one, we were able to have Myra meet with revision and come up with a strategy for starting to, we kind of talked about this last time, a strategy for identifying community solar sites. And we've started the solar site evaluation, and we will continue to communicate with our contacts at Revision about that. And the second goal of home energy upgrades, we have planned our first home energy assessment week. And Kizzy has met with numerous people about their home energy needs. And that's helped us develop a home energy upgrade plan that will be able to work with people on a much broader scale through, like distributing it digitally, so we don't have to meet with hundreds of people. And so that's there at that link, but we'll be sending that out for testing with the committee soon. So we're going through a process of testing before we distribute any further materials to the community, because we want to make sure that the feedback we're giving to people is, effective. And we want to make sure that the information we're asking from people, it's worth their time and all of ours to collect that information. So it's a process of piloting and testing it. So in a week from now, Kizzy will be going to the National Prize in-person training at NREL in Colorado. And we can all attend that via Zoom, whoever wants to. I can send out that link. That'll be really good for, understanding more community solar strategies, other kinds of project finance and community engagement community benefits plans, all of the things that we're going to need to do in order to apply for the big funding in, April and July, which is kind of the next step in the upcoming activities. That's like what we are gearing all of these projects towards, is having a grant application for the energy improvements in rural and remote areas grant. And in order to do that, we'll also be, having a number of, like, community events, or rather listening sessions, to get more information from, residents about what they want, to see in a, like, community energy plan going forward, like small scale events. And so we can meet with, people one-on-one or in smaller listening sessions. That's what we're trying to, work up towards. But this all takes time to plan and, work towards. So yeah, we're just gearing up for all of that. Yeah, so like last month, I asked, everybody on the energy committee if you know people who might be willing to talk about their home energy needs or, like planning, then ask them to talk to Kizzy, because we would love people who are, more kind of open, to like be guinea pigs, in our, planning process. And also, identify contractors and installers, either through work that we've done at our houses or, work that our acquaintances have done. And that way we'll be able to get more pricing information that we'll be able to use to better prepare our grant, as well as better prepare, residents in order to start planning for these, energy or home energy upgrade costs. So those are the, two requests still, is anybody who might be willing to, be a guinea pig, like, send them to Kizzy. She's been doing a great job of, meeting with residents so far. So, yeah, that's great.
Great, thanks, Krasika, and thank you, Kizzy. All this amazing work. It's looking really good. Really proud of y'all, and I really appreciate everybody who's helping as well. Anything else you want to add, or you're good there, Krasika?
So,
Or Kizzy, or any questions from others?
Krasika.
Yeah.
Are there any specific guidelines? Is there a list, or is there a set of criteria that have to be met in order to qualify for round 2?
Yeah, there's a document that's on the web.
That we can see?
Yes, yeah.
That's is it on our site?
It's on the Rural Energy Prize website.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Krasika, does
Yeah.
that include engineering studies for grid capacity and community solar storage systems, which was listed as one of the criteria for this project?
Yeah, that was part of our proposed plan. We're still working towards being able to develop a engineering study with a partner.
Who was that would be?
We are working on identifying a partner that has, more microgrid planning capacity.
So have we identified a partner for this at this point in time, or how far along such an activity might be? I was curious.
We're working with Revision now in order to get like some baseline generation plans set up. And then we're going to try to identify with them, a partner that they'd be comfortable working with us.
Have you looked at the grid capacity and things like that nature?
Yes, with Revision, yes.
And who would we talk
Yeah.
with?
John Luft and, is it Hall? Not Holly. Some, a lady whose name starts with H. And
Heather?
Heather, is it Heather? It's somebody else. Yeah, a few people.
Could you kindly
Yeah.
send me the details of those individuals, please?
Yeah, I'll talk to Myra. I will talk to Myra about that because
Yeah.
that's her domain, so.
Because I have a lot of information on that subject.
Okay.
Okay,
might-
yeah, I mean, I think, oh, go ahead, Dick, go ahead, sorry.
Well, one other thing, Chris, okay, you sent out a memo, which I think I received today regarding, the heat pumps. I believe I have here.
Oh, right, yes,
Yeah.
municipal heat pump.
I was curious about that because I talked with Efficiency Maine today,
Uh-huh.
and one of the statements that was made here is that we must fully replace the furnace, boiler, and partial installations. That's not necessarily true.
It isn't true. She says it's not true
But
anymore.
that's not
It's not
what the memo says. And I was curious, it's just, the switch must be off and the thermostat should be covered.
No, I don't,
80%.
I didn't send that today.
No, the one today says that the opportunity is available and you don't have to inactivate your furnace.
Yeah. you have
Actually,
to
that's
switch
the
it
one you
off.
sent out, as it does.
Okay. But that
Yeah,
should be.
it's true, it does say you have to, yeah.
I wrote that you have to, I meant, we don't have to switch off our
It's
furnace.
I could have sworn
Must
it's
be
in there.
designated to
Okay,
be
that's good to know.
fully
Anyway,
Okay.
you do have
They
to.
don't have to do that.
Wait,
That's
what
right.
did it
I
say?
was sure that's crystal clear.
The heat pump system must be designed to fully replace the furnace boiler.
Yes, it has to be designed to fully replace it.
Right.
However,
Read the rest
it
of
may remain as backup. The furnace boiler may remain as backup. You don't have to disconnect it.
Yeah, that's the way the
That's-
sentence.
The
That's what I
switch
wrote.
and cover the thermostats, as I was told today.
But is that what it reads in the memo?
In the memo, it says the heat pump system must be designed to fully replace the furnace or boiler. Partial installations are not allowed at this time. However, the furnace boiler may remain as backup.
Okay,
That's,
so then that's the memo that was sent out.
that was sent out today. That's what I
Okay.
remember reading. Yeah.
That's for the municipal program.
That should be clear, because most people are gonna keep their oil systems or wood systems or gas systems going.
This memo
Yeah.
applies only to this building,
Yeah.
only to this
Yeah.
building, not to residential.
Yeah. And in fact, only to part of this building, because we've already got heat pumps in the rest of the building. It's-
Yeah.
Of course, but in a small residential application, they're going to have oil or wood or something like, or gas.
It's not relevant to that installation. This is only.
Right,
for
this is,
municipal.
yeah,
Right.
Dick, it's not for residential.
necessarily true.
Can I jump back to the previous conversation about the Energy Hub Committee real quick? I have been finally able to work with a sporting club and, I do want to do the assessment and start working with the Energy Hub. So I'll contact you, Kizzy, to start that ball to roll.
Wow.
Thanks, Monica, that's great.
Okay.
And we were talking
Yeah.
about the residential, not bill, more than commercial and municipality. Residential applications need not shut everything down either on a replacement. Or update, I should say, probably a better word.
No, but the message today was exclusively about municipal
Right.
upgrades and
And that's
not
not
only
what it says here.
municipal, but municipal that have already had heat pump installations in them.
Okay, but I wanted to make sure it was clear that residential doesn't have to be, doesn't have to shut it off, that's all. Okay.
Yeah, it's clear that it's definitely clear that it's not for residential. So, and this only went out to us. It wasn't for the town or anything, so.
But
Yeah,
residential,
I was confused by the statement. This says this is for municipal buildings, and then down at the bottom, it says Asbro is not eligible for the
Yeah.
current municipal retrofits.
Correct.
So what
This
are
is-
we?
We are eligible for this current, the memo I sent out today is about a new funding opportunity that applies only to municipal buildings that already installed a heat pump in their program last year.
Oh, I see, okay.
yeah. So it's not for like new ones that already, this is not for a funding thing that already exists here yet.
Okay, okay, I just was a little confused by that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know, there's a lot going on.
Should we mention about the renovated space or just not talk about it?
The renovated.
Well, I mean, it's up.
Oh, yeah, we can bring that to the next meeting, maybe. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and Dick, I just wanted to follow up on your question about like talking to revision folks, about, you know, kind of solar installations. I think we're gonna keep it pretty limited who's actually talking to them, but if you have people that you know, that we aren't aware of that wanna be involved or be considered to have a project on their property, that's fine, but I think, you know, for now, we're trying to, you know, kind of figure out, kind of get this partnership started. So if you have questions for them, we can share them, but we'd ask that you please just let us continue working on this connection before reaching out to them yourself.
I'll discuss that a little bit more when I get my 5 minutes here on item G. Because I
Okay,
have had
let's-
some discussions on that issue.
That sounds good. Yeah, I mean, I think I'll just say, in terms of, I think you had a question, I don't know what you were asking, but maybe your question was about like the loading on the sub. And the good thing is that our substation that serves Islesboro is not overloaded at this point, according to revision. So that's a good thing that we could, you know, actually interconnect, but it would probably be something like in the 1 megawatt, which is plenty size for our island. So just that there's a little bit of detail that we know, but other than that, I don't think we have much more. So anyway, just wanted to address that question. But we'll hear what you have to say in a little bit too. Okay, and I also just want to kind of reiterate a little bit about the dynamics of like how the, you know, Energy Prize and Energy Hub is operating vis-a-vis the Energy Committee. You know, essentially the hub, I mean, we obviously are supportive of the hub and helping make some of the day-to-day decisions, but the management of the budget and of kind of who we are reporting to is Janet and the select board. And so individual committee members who have questions about that sort of day-to-day activities can reach out to Cressica, but really, you know, we are responsible to speak to the select board and Janet, and we obviously keep everybody here abreast as needed. So I would just ask that please remember that, and, you know that like, we're not the only ones, and we're really not the ones in charge of it. And so, you know, we're happy to share what we have, but there's no to kind of answer lots of side questions that are really kind of about the day-to-day. So just want to clarify that. And, you know, but if you have high-level questions, you can always ask me or Cressica. And okay, so let's move on to the next topic. Municipal building update. Cressica, you had said a little information recently. Sorry, make you talk so much, but thank you.
Yeah. So there was a meeting on December 28th in order to present some updated designs that they're still working on for both the Up Island Public Safety Garage and the Health Center. And they're in the process of still working with the construction manager to determine the guaranteed maximum price. So we won't know that for, you know, we'll have to give them another month in order to learn more information about, you know, what the cost is and what our options are. So that's,
Okay.
yeah, we're basically in the same place for us as we were before.
Yeah.
We're, you know, waiting for their process. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Okay, anything to share about the library, Toby or Bill?
Yes, I had a brief conversation with Melissa the other day, just to see how she was feeling about things, and she said she is putting together a specific list of things that she wants to accomplish. And also, I wanted to check on the amounts that we have in our budget that relate to the two things that pertain to the library when we get to that discussion. But in general, she wants to make sure that we have a carbon-free building and do away with fossil fuels ASAP. And I guess my question would be, how do we set some sort of schedule so that we can meet those goals and when they would be possible? some of that will depend on budget. We're gonna talk about that a little bit later, but, whether we like it or not, we're somewhat bound to the finances we have.
Myra, I'd like to speak to
Yeah.
that. This has been
Sure,
clearly established for over a year now. We have done everything in the library that we have scheduled to do. The LEDs have been installed, the insulation has been done. We are in a holding pattern at the moment to establish the performance of the building so that we can plan effectively and intelligently what to do next. So there is nothing this year. We are collecting data. That's what we're doing. We are recording how the building performs. As soon as we have a good record of how the building performs, we will then consult with the appropriate people, for example, revision, not necessarily revision, about the appropriate heat pump installation to match the BTU demand of the building. At that time, once we know that, we will consider the electrical upgrades necessary to facilitate that with the possible inclusion of an EV charger or two set up in the parking lot. At the moment, that is premature. There's nothing pending at the moment but data collection. I think this has been made clear several times before.
Well, yeah, thank you, Bill. I mean, yeah, so that's we have done all the things that we have scheduled. So yeah, Toby, I think we'd need to know more about what Melissa wants or plans vis-a-vis what we've already done and kind of compare, we are collecting data. I mean, we can probably have a discussion about other things that she wants to do as well, but you have to tell us what she wants before we can schedule something, but there's nothing scheduled now, so.
Bill, can I assume that that's, the financial analysis of all the opportunities will be, very clearly done? In other words, heat pumps versus, upgrades or the oil system or the solar or whatever's, it'll be a financial analysis.
Well, sure. But I mean, at the moment, all of it is premature.
I understand.
We're trying to determine how well the building works,
Of course,
what the electrical demand is, and what the
Of course.
BTU demand is.
of course.
And once we know that, then the question will, the tentative plan. Okay, Melissa wants the heat, the fuel system out, the fuel based furnace out. I think that's a mistake. I think what we do is we install heat pumps necessary to cover the need.
Sure.
We keep the fuel system in there and upgrade it to the point where it's not leaking or anything like that as a backup against intense temperature drop. But we don't use it. That's a point for discussion, but that won't happen for a year or two down the road.
Okay.
And the solar array, she's interested in putting a solar array on. It's a nice roof. Unfortunately, there are trees that are currently obscuring the utility of the roof. That's negotiable.
Right.
And then the size of the solar array would be determined in part by the demand of the library in conjunction with whatever additional output we can get from the solar array to go into the pool of electricity that the town is drawing upon.
Right.
So, but those conversations, it's premature. We can't have those now.
I understand. Okay, I just want to be sure. Thank you.
Yeah, Holly, do you want to, you had a comment?
Yeah, something just occurred to me. We're talking about solar on roofs. Does the library have any land that they could put solar on as opposed to the roof? Because I know they only have half a roof they can use.
There are two sections, as you know, Holly. There's the old section and the new section. The old section is slate. You can't use that half.
She just said that.
Yeah, so the question
Is
is,
there any land that's not a roof? Basically, is there any non-roof space to put a solar array?
There is land, but it's obscured by trees and brush. It would have to be thoroughly cleared, and part of the clearing is on other people's property. And so that's not an issue that can be done just by the library or the municipality at this point.
Well,
Well, how much land is it? Well, how
The-
much
the-
land, I'm curious, like approximately how big is the land? Is it behind the library or like where is it?
Yeah, if anything, it would only be the land that goes directly behind the two splotches between my house and Kirstie Alley's old house.
Right.
And so you're looking at half an acre max.
Okay, Yeah, that's not
Some
much
which
at
is
all.
taken
We
up by
can't really get
gardens,
much.
which is a slope that slopes in the wrong direction and so on.
And then also their entire septic runs there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The solar
see.
array would not really have a major impact on the septic, but
Yeah, but if you're trying to drive, you can't drive anything back there to clear it out,
yeah.
because you can't drive over the septic tanks and the leach field and everything that they have behind it.
Yeah.
It would likely take a sizable solar array to be very effective in any case. You can't just put one panel up or two panels up. It's gonna have to be.
Yeah, like half an acre is like, no offense, but diddly squat, kind of. Like, we're doing
The
much.
thing is, it doesn't matter where the solar array goes, as
Right.
long as the output is designated to the municipal accounts.
Yeah.
It can go anywhere. It could go, it could go in our backyard, for example. All you have to do is say to, the CMP, the output of this array goes to the town accounts to be distributed to the town accounts. That's all. So, doesn't have to go on the roof of the building. It can go anywhere the town finds the property to set up an array of any given size.
That's exactly right.
Put it on the old town dump out back that's got the big dome on it.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't understand why the old town dump, can't be used, but
It's not doing anything, you might as well make it useful.
yeah.
Of course.
That actually could be good use. I don't know if it's a brownfield, but probably not a desirable location for reasons.
It's a brownfield.
Okay. It is a brownfield, is that what you said?
10%. Yep.
Yeah, so there's requirements, but if, well, whatever, doesn't mean we can't do it. I mean, the good thing is we're the town, so I guess dealing with it as we have to make commitments to ourselves, but that adds to the difficulty in
Myra,
having someone build something.
Myra,
Mhm.
about solar arrays, the town is in the midst of paying off the 2 solar arrays we currently have, all right? My understanding from Janet is that she's paying off both of them. I thought it was going to happen by the end of this year, and so I wrote to Revision saying, so this is the last bill we're gonna get, right? And the current representative of that department, Sage, wrote back saying, no, we can't decommission, that solar array, this solar array can't be decommissioned until April 24th or April 4th, 2024. So we have another 4 months that we have to pay on that solar array, okay? And
Then it becomes ours,
it
correct?
becomes ours.
Okay.
I believe the same is true for the transfer station solar array. But Janet stated it in such a way that she seemed to talk about the two together, but never said specifically, we're paying off the town array, the town office array, and the transfer station array. So as well as I understand, we're paying off both of them. And I don't know if they have different dates of appropriate payoff or if they're the same date. So I've discovered half of that information today, only today. And the other half of it, I haven't even inquired about yet, but sometime in the near future, in principle, we will own both arrays. That is to say that until that happens, I'll wager the town is not interested in forking over any money or any time or energy about yet another array. That's my guess. That's just a guess, okay?
Well, yeah, but I mean, it sounds like, any array on the library is like very far out. I mean, we're not gonna build array in 2 months. But yes, it's good to know that we're paying something off, but yeah. Well, okay, I think then, Toby, is there anything else that Melissa wanted that we didn't discuss that we should consider?
I wanted to follow up on what Bill just said for a second. Do you happen to know what the outstanding balance is from the solar array up here?
You mean the purchase balance?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I did those calculations for Janet about 1.5 years ago, and I have a record of what the balance was at that time. I don't, this is not my province. I don't keep track of that stuff other than when I'm asked to do so by somebody.
Right.
So I probably could come up with the number by extrapolation from what I did 1.5 years ago, but I don't have it in my head.
Why don't we just ask Janet what it is?
Well,
Yeah.
what are you gonna use that information for?
And then the same would be true for the transfer station to find out what the deadline is for that and what the balance is for that.
Right, but it's not really our province. We don't have authority. I mean, we can ask for curiosity's sake, but we have no authority over those decisions.
No, but it
Yeah.
will help us to do planning for solar arrays that we want to be involved in. Right?
I suppose, it's just, yeah. Okay,
That's my theory. So, in
Right,
other words,
well,
if you don't know what your debt is likely to be, how can you plan effectively? So, that's my
well,
question.
it sounds like Bill will hear back from Janet one way or another, because she already asked her, so Bill, you can let us know what you learn back,
alrighty.
right? Later on, okay, that's good. Yeah, I think it is important to understand, however, I also think, well, it is all town money, but I think we need to be careful assuming what the town is and isn't willing to pay and spend money on. You know, I mean, it's good to know what's outstanding and everything, but we just don't know how it's all gonna go. But anyway, so if there's not, is there anything else that you wanted to say that Melissa was interested in for the library, Toby, beyond what you've already mentioned?
No, I mean, no,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, thank you. All right, EV charger update, Monica and Holly, do you want to, I think I saw some emails going on about that too in the past couple weeks. Anything you want to share on that?
Yeah, we had our fire meeting last night and Mark spoke to us a little bit. He's been doing research himself about, EV chargers, lithium batteries. And he showed us a little research about a facility that had multiple batteries. One started going off, and because of the thermal trickle, it just kept going. The damage was so bad, the entire facility was gone and ruined. Now, that is exaggerated compared to an EV charger in a car here, but Mert did express that he really would like to have the new EV charger for the Up Island Public Safety Building to be across away from the building on the other side of the parking lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. And we saw from the municipal building plans that that is the plan right now to have the chargers moved, so. Yeah, and is the charger, is it working now? Is it working now? I don't know what's happening with it.
It was supposed to be turned off, right?
It is turned off. We can't lock the, hardwired plug on the outside of the building. The town can lock it, but, yeah, that's what, there's still a plug on the outside of the building. It's just not a charger per se.
Right. Well, okay, so I guess my question is like, is the idea that we'll just leave it off until like the building gets renovated and we move it, or just like it, we can use it until we renovate the building and it gets moved? Or I guess I'm trying to get a sense of expectation.
There was question about possibly moving it now, because I know we just need the extension of the conduit to go across the parking lot momentarily. But the thing is we would have to rip up the parking lot.
Yeah. I can't tell if you can see me, Maya.
I now can see you, Bill, yes, thank you.
Just an opinion about this, nothing more, okay? If I were planning this, what I would do is I would say, okay, so when is the municipal building going to be dealing with the macadam of the current parking lot? When is that going to be ripped up? Because you're gonna pay labor and machine costs and so on to tear up that blacktop. Might as well incorporate all that work at the same time to minimize the charge on it. Now, if there's a compelling reason to make that charger work now, then maybe that overrides the need to save money for a better time. But it hasn't worked for the past, 2 years. So it seems to me we could temporize for another few months until we know what they're going to do with the parking lot in conjunction with the new construction. That would be when I would see the best time to do it.
Mhm. Right, and I guess from what it sounds like, I don't think we have much of a clear picture of when they're gonna be doing that work on the parking lot, because they're just getting their ducks in a row on, in general, like getting the construction project going. I don't know, Cressica, if you disagree or if you have a sense, but doesn't sound like there's any like firm plans that we could bank on of when they're actually gonna do specific work.
Yeah, I can't, it might be, I think, 2 months until we break ground.
Oh, so they are gonna break ground pretty soon.
Well,
In
we
theory,
don't know, it depends on, yeah, how the bidding process goes, but it's something like March. So we'll have more, we'll know more soon. So maybe by the next meeting, we can make a more informed path
Yeah.
forward.
When are they gonna break ground?
Well, the construction of the new building over here. But whether that involves chopping up the parking lot yet, I don't know, we have to ask.
Yeah, we have, because in order to do the construction, I assume they might pull a new electrical entry over there sooner rather than later, so we might be able to
Yeah.
access that, from that side sooner rather than later, and that'll all be dug up then in that direction, maybe? I don't know.
Rather than cutting
I'll
up the
keep
parking
asking, I'll
lot
keep asking.
that exists. I mean, so.
Okay,
If you need to make another decision, if it's just taking too long, then just let me know and I'll be happy to course correct.
Are they aware that we want to put the charger across the parking lot?
They're incorporating that into their, planning.
cool. All right. Well, it sounds like then we'll just kind of wait and see, like we'll leave it off and then, see how things develop with the plans and timing on the municipal building project and try to take advantage of opportunities if they're going to be doing electrical work anyway. Maybe that can work, or if not, we'll just wait till they have more of a solid plan. Does that sound like I summed it up correctly?
Yeah, sounds good.
Great, thanks. Anything else, Monica, there?
Not at the moment.
All right, thank you. Okay, Dick, do you want to talk about any main utility policy, or rates updates?
I'm gonna hand out, a post I did on the standard offer and the new rate that's coming out, that should be out today, or it should out for the first of the year. And I'll give one to you, so you don't have to, I don't have to read it.
So the rates are going down, correct?
Yes,
Mhm.
temporarily. But they're going
What is
down.
temporary?
Yeah.
A month, 6 months, a
I'll
year?
explain that in a minute.
All right.
Everything is temporary.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything is temporary.
Well, it's temporary because of solar, but.
No, I meant everything is temporary.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Life is
The
temporary.
universe is temporary, it's just the time scale, that's all.
I think Osro should be given a little bit of credit to beating the drum pretty loud with the Maine Utility Commission and us getting the contract with Constellation. As a result of beating the drum on the standard offer being far too expensive for this town or anybody else, not just the municipality, they lowered the standard offer to about 10.5 cents, which is outlined here. At least they took out the solar subsidy, which was included in the standard offer. I didn't know that. So the standard offer was carrying a solar subsidy.
So how does that work? What is the solar subsidy?
The solar subsidy is the money they pay for people to put solar panels on their roof. There's a subsidy for that. It's CMP and the standard offer does.
I wish I'd known that.
Yeah, I didn't know it myself, Bill. But there's a subsidy. I assumed it was just a retail price, but there was much more to it than that. And the lady that I'm dealing with is Sally Zeth, is the second banana. She answers to the chairman of the Maine Utility Commission. So this is the truth of the matter because I have the memos from the Utility Commission on the subject. So it's not something I can do. So the rates are gonna go down, and the municipal rate that we have now, we've had it now for a month, will be the new rate that's coming out, will be effective for everyone on the island. So it's not just the municipality. The municipality rate is Constellation. This will be the standard offer being lowered, which the standard offer is being supplied by New Brunswick Power and Next Energy.
Constellation and Next Energy.
What's that?
Constellation and Next.
The Constellation is the current supplier of power for the municipal accounts. They are not allowed to sell power At least not until the first of the year,
Yeah, it's the
power
first
to
of the year.
the private entities.
Yeah,
Yeah, this building is now currently being served by Constellation, which is a separate utility from the one supplying the standard offer. This is not the standard offer here,
Right.
but.
No, ours is like a little higher than the standard offer, right? Just like a cent more or something, right?
It's very similar to the rates are nearly the same. They're a fraction of a cent difference. But the problem is that the solar subsidy will likely come back, which is I was warned about that. Don't expect this to go on forever. As Bill said, it's temporary.
How does the solar subsidy work? Is it a monthly decrease in the
Yeah,
bill?
exactly. They add it to the standard offer.
Hmm.
It's as simple as that. The municipalities didn't pick it up, because we were able to skip the standard offer and go directly to Constellation, which is a utility that supplies municipal power to 250 some odd municipalities in Maine, and they have 800 different customers. But they're obligated to work through Maine Power Options, which is a municipal organization. They're a contract with them. They are not an agent. They are contracted through Constellation. And we bought power for 10.8 cents for this community, or the 10 accounts in the community. And the new standard offer that's being offered is 10.5 cents, so it's slightly less than the municipality, but it's not a firm contract. The municipality here has a firm contract, 1-year contract for power. Standard offer can change as the whim of the utility commissioner, apparently. So that's my report, Myra. Doesn't look bad. We're beating them pretty hard, as we should.
Okay, thank you.
Questions? Oh, one other thing, so I have talked to Constellation, which is the utility that serves this municipality, about serving the rest of this community on a long-term basis. And I'm getting mixed reviews, but they didn't say no. So there's a possibility for some other things happening down the road. And we have a pretty good contact with Constellation. I talk with them frequently. That's my report.
May I add a footnote to that very briefly?
Whatever, of course.
I will be getting I'll be getting the data on the use of electricity for the municipalities organized, but it will take a little while for this discount to be reflected.
Yes.
But come April or May, I'll try to remember to give a report showing what impact the rate decrease has had on our monthly bills for the 10 accounts.
Thank you, Bill.
But
I'll remind you.
you'll have to remind me of it. Because I get those data, I can't just download them month by month as I used to. I have to wait several months and then download them, so, or request them. So it's gonna be a while, but
That's all right, but
I'll try to make sure we all know what impact it's had.
one thing about CMP is they don't miss the bills. So if it goes down on the standard offer, that's what you'll see.
So I've got a question, in terms of buying power. We sealed the agreement for a year, correct?
Yes.
Now, when that year comes close to ending, what happens then?
Well, we knew it. The best terms we can make.
So we renegotiate,
Sure. And it probably won't change a great deal. It may go down, as a matter of fact.
and not necessarily with the same provider.
Well, you probably have more leverage with the same provider. It's not, you change suppliers all the time, and they get nervous that that they don't have a long-term contract. I think that the fact that we picked up the new contract with Constellation had an impact on the utility commission, because not every community in the state was doing what we did. And so we gave them a little bit of impetus to change the standard offer. I'm not sure we can take credit for it, but it certainly didn't hurt. The fact that we went to another utility independent of the standard offer, which is supervised by the Maine Utility Commission and authorized by them. So I think we made some progress. I think I spoke enough on that one, but. Myra still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. I'm listening. It sounds like I
I'm
think,
finished. If you got any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them.
Does anybody have any questions?
No,
Beyond what we just discussed. Okay, great. Well, thanks, Dick. Appreciate it. And good to know, understand what we're working with here. Okay, for the final update, Toby, do you want to talk about the budget? I have your sheet here.
Well, everybody, got I hope, a copy of the current finance report that reflects how things stood at the end of December. And what it does is show, two things, well, three things. One, the budget that we have, which is $50,000. As a result of the vote of the town last time we had a vote for financing. And then all of the amounts in red are deductions for costs. And the items 450 and 3143 are items that we were reimbursed for one reason or another, which brought our total back up to a better final result after those reimbursements were made. So that's pretty much self-explanatory. The thing that I would like to do is ask everybody to think carefully about the budget in terms of what we originally planned and whether those amounts are still true. For a couple of reasons. One is that if we're not really going to spend what those items imply, then we can remove some of that funding from those items and apply it somewhere else to meet a need that we might have. So I think it's important to rethink for anybody who is involved in any of those figures, to rethink them. And as we did with the meeting minutes, when I said earlier that the pattern showed that the amount we originally budgeted from the $50,000, which was $1,000 to pay the costs of meeting minutes, was not going to be sufficient. So we realigned that to 2,000. So based on the way things are moving currently, it's going to be somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000. It's hard to know, but that's a $500 margin, which is reasonable. As far as I know, we have several items that we haven't really taken care of yet. One is the appreciation gift. I'm wondering if that amount is still true or what's happening with that. Second of all, what's happening with the sensors in the library, and if that's an accurate figure. What the question of whether we're going to have another equivalent of the event we had in 2022, and what the actual costs will be, and if we could get a breakdown what those costs would be, we would know whether $5,000 is appropriate or possibly a lower figure. And then the other figure is the electrical engineering study, which to me seems rather high. And I'm wondering how we came up with that number. So if anybody has answers to those things, I'd appreciate people letting me know so that I can, maybe by the next meeting, we can think about how we want to handle this, whether we want to leave them the same or whether we want to change them for the rest of the current fiscal year. We're waiting to find three more things at the bottom that are on hold. And those affect our budget and whether we'll be able to get some of the things that we originally wanted to do. One is the evergreen balance that I'm hoping will happen the way it should happen if the auditor okays that figure and that becomes a zero, in which case $14,000 goes into the fund. I'm wondering, based on what Josh said in his report, for $8,000 in a budget in the document that we got this week, whether that $8,000 applies to the $15,000, does it, Josh?
That's a question that you're asking me, I don't even have an answer to. I don't even know where the 15,000 was, where that came from.
Well, I guess what I'm asking is, are we paying the $8,000 or is somebody else paying it?
I'm not sure who pays the work, you know, who's gonna pay for the work on the building. I don't know if that would be out of our pocket or out of the town's budget account or not, like with the louvers on the fire station. Are we gonna be held responsible for paying for that to be done, or is,
You know,
building maintenance gonna cover that? Those are answers I do not have.
so are these numbers on the list that you came up with estimates, or have they actually been cost out?
Well, I believe where that number was pulled from was right here in the meeting. I mean, none of us quoted anything. I mean, all the way from the work that needs to be done on the windows, it was all an approximation
Right.
on roughly what a window would cost to be put in and the price of the window. I mean, it's,
Okay, so I guess what I'm hoping is that somehow you can figure out whether those are accurate and on target and who the person or agency is that's actually paying that money, whether it's coming out of our budget as the Energy Committee or whether it's coming from another source. Because if that makes me ask the question, what's the $15,000 for that's on our budget?
we'll have to find that out. I mean, that was a number that was pulled out in a Zoom meeting. I mean, none of us.
If I can, if I remember correctly, because this went back to last year when we were starting to do it and how much money did we want to set aside for it? A big part of it, so it is a guesstimated factor of how much it would be, but that still depends a lot on the municipal building project. With what updates are they going through, what are they going to do, and we didn't know if they were going to contribute anything, and I don't think that we still have that answer either. And so
Yep.
that was for us to know if they decided that they were just going to, nope, we're not doing anything, which unfortunately, they've kind of gotten a little bit closer to that of what did we need to look at in the future? Not necessarily just for this year, but long-term planning. Because if they're going to cover it, we want to let them cover it so we don't spend our money. But we also don't want to we want to make sure that it gets handled if they decide that it's not their problem. Does that make sense? That was where a big part of the guesstimation of the numbers came from, is that we didn't know what they would be able to handle.
Well, all I'm saying is that we have a new fiscal year coming up.
Right.
We have to plan for that.
And I think that we should do it with the same, given that the municipal building project pushed the way that it did, I think that we need to plan with the same, if Josh and Janice and you guys are capable of it, making sure that our numbers are still on track with what it costs for a window, what it costs for this, and making sure that it's still the same, but keeping that earmarked for it. That way we can ensure that they do get done, whether it's us paying for it fully or them having to, if they cover it.
Right. So I guess what I'm looking for is something that's more itemized
Right,
and clearer.
Yep.
So that we can actually look at it and say, oh, that's a real number.
right,
And we know we can depend on it instead of, well, we think we need this,
right,
which is a guess,
yep,
an estimate. And that makes me
Yeah.
nervous because I'm trying to spend, or figure out a way that we can spend our money as efficiently as possible.
right,
So that when we come to the point where we have to say we need X amount of money for next year from the
Absolutely.
select board and the
this is
town,
for what, yeah,
we have to make sense.
oh, absolutely. And they'll wanna see
Yeah, but I
exactly what you're putting the money towards, and so, no, initially, I just wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page, that the way that this came through is we didn't have an idea of who was going to be able to pay for it. We wanted the municipal building project to include it in their upgrade, but if they weren't able to, we knew about where we were looking. And so,
Yeah.
but yes, I agree with you, that an itemized now that we have more of an idea of what they're going to do and what they're not going to do, we're probably still 2 months out for it. But then we can go through and we can get that itemized list of, cool, if they're not going to upgrade the windows, we've got the windows. If they're not going to do insulation that we previously looked at, we've got that. But we're kind of in that limbo pattern with the municipal building project for them to tell us what they can and can't do.
Right. So,
Yeah. So, Toby, hold on. I just want to kind of speak to some of the stuff. So you had asked in the email if we could have a meeting for planning, and I think we can have a planning meeting for the next budget, probably in the spring. I don't think we need to do it right now, especially since, as Melissa as we just went through on just even one issue, like there's still a lot of unknowns. So I think, let's hold off on, so I would propose, and I can send around some information about having a separate budgeting meeting for the spring, like we did last year. But have it a little bit ahead of time, so we're more, a little bit more on ahead of it. And in terms of, I don't think you need to worry about how the money is managed. I mean, you're tracking it for us, but I mean, we as a committee, like also, we, it's good to see it on paper, but I think like, we as a committee are looking at it, and we're working with a lot of unknowns this year, for better or worse. I mean, it's good that a lot of our projects that we kind of that were very concrete are pretty much complete, and we have new things that are a little more nebulous. So we're just gonna have to work with that. And I think, like, just as we have done in the past, we will give itemized budgets and details when we have them. So I think, I feel like I heard you say, well, I want to make sure, I want to manage it. And I don't think you have to worry totally about managing it. You're tracking it for us, which is very helpful, but like, it's not on you if the whole budget is not on your shoulders. So just want to kind of reframe it so you don't feel like nervous about that.
Myra?
Yes.
To some extent with what Toby is saying. One of the biggest expenditures, as far as I know, is the monthly salary to Kizzy. And I'd like to hear her report. We're spending.
Wait a minute. No, that's not, the meeting minutes are for Carrie to take the meeting minutes. There's no expenditures here for Kizzy.
How is she being paid?
He's being paid out of the separate pot of money from the energy prize.
Okay, but I want to know, what are we getting for that? We're getting
Well,
this
you're seeing it
report?
every month. We give you an update on what Kizzy's doing. So
Yes.
what
That's
do
what
you
I'm
need
asking.
to see?
The report is right there.
Okay, I didn't know there was one. Is she here?
Yes, she's on Zoom.
Yeah, she's on as the Islesboro Energy Hub.
I'm on Zoom.
She's not on our budget.
About what happened. what we can
But
do
she is
about it.
not on our budget.
Energy
Yeah,
committee. It's part of the energy committee, and we should know, and she should.
Well, we talked about it about 20, 30 minutes ago. I mean, that report was given.
Yeah. Yeah, two things. So the energy prize is not part of our budget. It is managed by Janet and the town and the select board. We've already discussed this earlier in the meeting. And the update that Cressica gave and talked at length about what Kizzy's been doing is what Kizzy's been doing. So yeah, I'm not sure what else we could say beyond what she's doing.
Well, can she?
And
brief
that the
us?
money is being spent. I mean, we have her, we've all approved the salary, and we know what she's doing, and so therefore, that's kind of where we are. But the day-to-day management of the money for that is not under our purview.
I understand, but I want to know if she's communicating with Central Maine Power, is she communicating on issues that I'm involved with? We haven't discussed it at all.
Well,
And
you
it's-
can ask her. That isn't generally, I mean, if you have questions ask Kizzy and Cressica if they are, and then you'll know. I mean, we have communicated everything that has been done so far. So there's no like side thing. So if something you feel like you want to know if it's happening, just ask.
I'm always available for anybody to talk to me
Does
via
she have
email.
any communications on?
She's talking right now and you're interrupting her.
I'm more than happy to speak to anybody via email or in person. I'm always available to explain exactly what's going on. Nobody's approached me regarding that. So, but if you would like to meet and talk about what's happening, I'd be more than happy to arrange a time.
Do we expect a verbal, a summary then at some point in time, possibly next meeting?
Dick, that was what Cressica gave under item C.
It's
No,
my-
it doesn't need to
it's
come
my
from
role-
Kizzy.
It's my role to brief the committee. It's Kizzy's role to brief Janet and the select board.
And so
Right,
she
and-
provided her report to Cressica and Cressica provided that to us.
That's what's on the table?
And that is what Cressica verbally stated under C.
Just like 40 minutes ago.
This, here,
This one.
this one's
I
colored.
got it.
I believe it's 6:30. I don't know. Carrie, man.
Do you remember the conversation that Cressica had about meeting with
Yes.
revision and the goals?
Yes,
That was from Kizzy,
I didn't know
That
that.
involved Kizzy, yes.
How am I supposed to know
And-
that?
because she said that beforehand.
It's on them.
Thanks.
And we gave you a handout and we just said it, so
No.
there's not much more we could do to communicate it.
But she did, and she did a very good job, Cressica. Thank you for keeping us informed.
Yeah, right. We've been telling you, maybe Dick, it went over you, but yeah, the information, exactly what Kizzy's doing is there and we presented it
Okay,
here, so hopefully that's clear now. Okay. Well, so I guess, so Toby, I think in terms of the budget and the, thank you for sharing this with us and expressing some of your concerns. I think we, I think all of us now are kind of on alert, like as we find out more details about certain activities and the likelihood of them, we will inform you to update the budget, inform the committee honestly, and then you can update the budget. But right now, I don't, as we've said, there's no further details on how much things are going to cost or how they're going to change. I would agree that the engineering study for the library, I'm not even sure that's going to happen this year. I don't know. So I think that's something we need to revisit with Melissa, but that other than that, I think the other things are somewhat unknown, or can stay the same, like the community outreach event. I don't see that needing to change dramatically right now because we don't have like a solid plan one way or another. And obviously we discussed the updates to the fire station and how that's related to the municipal building project, so.
So do we have a date for the select board to make its decision about committees like ours asking for funds? Is there a deadline for that?
I know that we're starting our budget meetings. We're actually starting in the end of February. The end of February, first part of March, isn't that what
Right.
they were kicking through? And so if you have suggestions you would have basically until about mid-March, because we felt like we didn't have enough time going through the entire month last time. And I might be wrong on my M's. Are we doing it in March or May? No, it's March, because the school's starting theirs in February. And so
Yeah,
you're
because
asking for if short answer is it's coming up pretty quick.
Okay.
If you guys are expecting to ask for a exponential amount of extra funds, if you're going with, this is what we've received the previous years, I don't foresee it raising any big flags. But if now there's something that you're like, hey, we're gonna need $50,000 extra dollars, like we need that to Janet real quick.
So that's
okay.
my thinking too, and I'm getting nervous already about plans for next year and our budget for next year. So that's why I think it's really important for us to have a set aside separate session where we do planning, which includes the budget. But unless we know that our current budget is effective and on target, then the credibility for the next budget might be a little bit fuzzy. So what I'm hoping is that we can discipline ourselves as a committee to get the figures straight for this year.
let me shoot a message off to the rest of the select board and ask when, if I've got my M's confused or not, for when we're starting our budget. And then I'll pass that information around to the rest of you guys. That way you have more of an idea. Spring might be a little late.
Okay.
But you're looking at probably cold shoulder winter in order to have a formal sit down meeting. I do not think that it is a bad idea for the committee to pull together a few of you for a budget and
Yeah.
run through, yep. Oh, no, wait, I need $100,000. And then it's gonna be a more in-depth conversation. But I do agree with Toby, that I think it's a better idea to get it going sooner rather than later, just to make sure you're not getting blindsided later on.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good point. I guess I didn't realize it was coming up so soon, so thank you for everybody for the reminder. Point taken. So, okay, well, I guess, probably then the best thing to do is to try to, I don't know, I mean, I feel like these meetings aren't great for hashing through budget stuff, and I'm not sure everybody wants to do that either, so maybe what I can do is like ask everybody kind of like based on the projects you're working on, what kind of a budget do you think you would need in the coming year? And then some of us can sit down together, like maybe me, Toby, and I don't know, someone else, or and just kind of work through it and put it together for next year. I just don't know how much more clarity we'll have on this budget for, for the future year. So it is a little tough because, now well, I don't know. I haven't heard from everybody, so I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but I'm not sure, like, it's a little bit different than the past years where we've been like, yeah, we know we need to do this, this, and this now, right? We're kind of like slowing a little bit. So I don't know how the select board feels about, giving money when you haven't used the same amount, used it all the previous year. Like, I don't want to, but I don't want to ask for less. I don't know. It's a tough one, right? So
It's about your planning and organization with it. If you have the plan and you know what you're doing and you can establish and articulate, this is why this money is earmarked, then that goes further than we're gonna make everything a solar array. No, I won't back you on that. And I love you guys. I showed up today. Bill has a question for you, Mayor.
Yeah, just a comment, for some clarity. There are two issues here. How much money are we going to spend this year of what was already allocated? How much money do we need for next year?
Right.
The amount of money that we are going to spend this year has been altered by conditions. So for example, the two heat pumps were supposed to go in this renovated space. We were planning ahead for that. Am I right, Kreska? Is that the way we were? Yeah, okay. And we have not moved forward on that yet because the renovation plans have been delayed. And so we don't know where to put a heat pump in here until the wall into which it's gonna be inserted exists.
Right.
Okay? So that's one of the issues. Things have been delayed. The fire updates, that's way too much money for what we probably end up having to do, probably. But we won't know until we do it. We have spent the fall organizing our plan to get the energy prize work going. And that's where most of our energies have gone. Now we have to get to work on the actual physical jobs we had before us. When we do that, we'll know how much money we need to spend. We'll know how much money is left over. Then we can have a conversation about what we do with the money left over. Do we roll it over to next year? Do we apply it to some other expense that now comes up that we didn't foresee before? We can't have that conversation right now because we're not ready. And it's as simple as that. The problem is that it's a lot easier if you've already spent the money before you ask for more money. And we're not, unfortunately, in that position at this moment.
But one of the things that I think that the select board is gonna look at this year is, oh, did we have a pot of money that was left over? And so now we frivolously spent it to say that we spent it, as opposed to.
Oh, we're not doing that.
We weren't able to allocate it, so now we're doing it this way.
Right.
That looks fiscally.
Oh, yeah.
responsible. That is approved,
Okay.
There's others that aren't, so.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at
So it's,
that.
again, a
Thank
premature
you, guys.
conversation at this
Sorry, I
point.
have to leave, I have to wrap up this stuff.
You're good.
Josh, let's talk, okay? Okay.
Sorry,
Bye,
Maria.
Josh.
I-
Yes, Monica. Monica, you have to go too? Sorry, bye. Okay, bye, everybody.
We are
No
running
problem.
along.
Yep, so, okay, it sounds, but yeah, Bill divided the issue into two, and thank you, Melissa, for your insights. You know, I think we always try to be, I mean, we try to be responsible and responsive and plan ahead as much as we can, and obviously, we don't have definition, not because we haven't cared, but because we just haven't been able to have it for this one. And I think, for next year, yeah, we'll have to really think about that a little bit because, I mean, we can kind of ask for the same amount and say things may come up, but honestly, I don't know. Yeah, so I'll send out an email after this, just kind of asking people for some ideas and thoughts on what they're working on for next year and if we need anything, and maybe the amount changes. I don't know. So, but I don't want to say anything now before we have a chance to gather some data about our thoughts and what we need, and we'll go from there. So, but and then we can come up with something to offer to the select board. And yeah, Melissa, it'd be nice if you could please clarify when they would like that so that we can
Melissa's
send
out
it.
of the room right now.
Melissa's helping Monica right now.
Oh, okay. Well, it sounds like it's probably in the spring, but she did say she would help, so I will just make sure that she follows up with that. So yeah, so Toby, we don't have as much definition as you'd like, or is that I think we would in general like yet. So yeah, so that's kind of where we are, but we will add it as we go, and we haven't been doing as much of these things in the recent months because we've been focused on the energy prize.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, well, we didn't go through the planning update, but I just want to say really quick before we adjourn, like Toby had offered to help put together our annual report, which is super helpful, and I really appreciate that, Toby, as he's done in the previous years. And so Toby, if you want to send an email out to the folks or just to the committee asking for whatever you need from them so that everybody can send you an update on their activities. And was that work for you?
Okay.
Okay.
The deadline is, if it's the same as last year, is March 1st, so we have to get going on it.
Right, okay.
The-
Well, we'll have like a month and a half, which is good. Okay, yeah. So will you, I'm sorry? Sorry.
It'll take a couple of hours to write it, basically.
Yeah, okay. So Toby, why don't you send that email to the team to just ask for what you need, and then we will provide it and tell us when you need it by. How's that?
Right.
Okay.
The other question is, did we decide that we need to have the equivalent of a workshop that's going to help us to resolve the financial issues for this year and do an effective job planning finances for next year? I feel that's a really important step for us as we mature. We're asking new things of the committee. I understand that, but unless we discipline ourselves into a new system that works in the future, we're going to be stuck with the same issues year after year, and I'd like to avoid that.
I see. Well, I mean, I think we just kind of went through the fact that like we don't really, I mean, when do you propose to hold such a workshop?
Well, I think we need to do it in a timely way so that we can make recommendations that will have a positive impact when we ask for money for the next fiscal year. And we also need to think about how we budgeted and went through the budget for this past year in order to make that an effective process.
Okay, well, so Melissa, I see you're back. I just said, can you please let me or the whole committee know, like, when the select board does need the information for the budget and when you have a chance?
Absolutely.
Well, I recommended either February or March, but it sounds like March is almost too late. I don't know, when would be the drop dead date that the select board would need financial requests?
She's gonna ask that and
Yeah,
get back.
I'll get that, I'll email that to you
Yeah,
guys.
so that's what I just asked Melissa to provide us, so we don't know. So, but it sounds like, even if it sounds like, Melissa, correct me if I'm wrong, if we kind of met like in early February or something as a team, and then, gave you all something in early February, that's probably pretty good.
And so that would be
That-
I think that's a good goal to set for it. And then if I'm wrong and we don't need it till May, you guys will know before early February and we can bump it just a little bit. And
Yeah,
so,
okay.
but,
Cool.
Okay,
So, yeah, so I can try to plan something, get something out to the team about a budgeting workshop for early February, to kind of go through what we've spent. And again, I don't know if we'll have much more detail, but then kind of like how we want to go about, asking for another budget, what it might look like. Does it look the same? Does it look different? We could talk about it then. So, okay, yeah. I think that has to help clarify, Toby, or you're good there?
I'm okay with that idea, and I just don't want time to slip away.
No, that's
looking at my calendar from last year, we did start when we're meeting every week going through budget, we do start that in March. And so, yeah, you guys need to meet early February, mid-February, and make sure that you have your things in line. That way, when we start ours, it's not pulling teeth or trying to do it. And then we have an idea of what you already want, but that needs to be turned into Janet by the end of February.
Okay.
And that's like drop dead date is end of February.
Will depend on you to give us that heads up.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'll remind you.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. That sounds good. Yeah, we can do that. I'll send something around trying to organize it and we'll go from there. All right, I think everybody seems very antsy, so I don't think there's anything else on the agenda that we needed to talk about. So our next meeting is February 13th. And so if anybody, does somebody want to, Bill, do you want to refresh your move to adjourn?
I would like to refresh my move to adjourn, yes, and it was seconded by Dick, and all we need is a vote.
Okay, great. Okay, so we gotta go and, sorry, I gotta say your names and do the roll call. So Dick DeGrasse,
I agree.
okay, Toby Martin,
Yes, absolutely.
Bill Thomas,
Yes.
okay, Cressica Brazier.
Yep. Aye.
That's the only people in the room anymore. And then Holly
Yes.
Fields, sorry, and
Yes.
Harriet Pickering.
Yes.
Okay, Myra said it, yes. So there we go, we've adjourned. Thanks again, everybody. It's super exciting hearing all the great things that we're doing, and I'm very proud of you. So you should be proud of yourselves. Thank you. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
The town should know about it.
Need a physics.